All right, boys and girls, going to do a lather today, and if you see the difference in my startup, you see a little measuring spoon there with some soap in it. That's the difference in today's shave. We're going to use a pre-measured amount of soap and do a bowl lather. This is just a simple bowl lathering video this time. I ran across somebody today online who was asking questions about bowl lathering a little bit. He had been given some wrong information by some people who were face latherers, and they were misrepresenting bowl lathering and telling him it was a suboptimal practice. And so I gave him a link to my website, sugardaddyshaves.com, and the page I have there about bowl lathering versus face lathering, and so that should help. I think it's fairly objective. I talk about the pros and cons of each type of shaving, and I'm a bowl lathering fan. I do the slurry lather lately, and to me that's just a better way to face lather because I like all that water up front. But they're welcome to try that. I'll probably paste them one of my slurry lather link videos, or maybe we'll do a slurry lather 101 video next time. But for today, it's a pre-measured amount of soap pressed into the bottom of a bowl, and the soap is Midnight Stag from Chiseled Face, just like it has been all month. The razor is Timeless Open Comb Stainless Steel 68 gap. It's got a Nacet in it, and the brush is a Semogue Owners Club Taj handle boar brush, and this method works the same whether you're using a boar brush, a synthetic, or a badger. There are slight variations. Boars really absorb a lot of water. There's also plenty of room between the bristles for lather to develop and to be held, whereas if you get one of those fancy badger brushes that's high density, look at all those bristles, then there's a little bit less room between the bristles for the lather. And the cool thing about bowl lathering is it actually helps to mitigate that problem because you're generating your lather in a bowl, and so if you ever need to go back and get more lather, you can just dip back in and get as much as you want. Let's see, let's get this brush back in. If you do have a boar brush, since we're kind of talking to beginners today, you do need to soak it for several minutes prior to the shave. Boar hairs absorb water, unlike badger. Badgers do a little bit, it depends on the knot. Horse does as well. Synthetics, of course, do not absorb water, and so just a quick fan under the water just once, a water stream there before you go to load your soap is all you need to do with a synthetic. And we're going to switch, instead of using my 3D printed lather bowl that I have used many times, I'm going to prove my point that any bowl can be used. And so this is just a melamine bowl from Dollar Tree. It does, I glued these little glass beads into the bottom of the bowl years ago, and so the glue residue is still there. I used a cheap glue just as an experiment, and as you can see, the beads did not last much longer than 1 or 2 shaves before they popped out. They were glass beads, and so I don't know if I'm going to need to etch surfaces and things like that. Maybe I just need to use silicone, adhesive instead of that general purpose adhesive, because it is, after all, something that's in water a lot. So I was just experimenting with that. Actually, it was a whole Dollar Tree thing. The glass beads that I had bought were from the Dollar Tree. The adhesive was just a standard one from the Dollar Tree. And I don't think this is the one where I tried epoxy resin, but it may have been. All right. So we start off with, some people like to prepare their face by washing. I usually don't. I let that first pass be my face wash. But as a beginner, one of the important things is not to use an exfoliating product as your face wash. you're about to slide a razor blade all over your face, and so you don't want to double exfoliate, because the blade itself is an exfoliating operation, and so don't use some kind of a cleaning product to exfoliate before. That'll just rough up your face. So let me just splash some water on my face. Before I get my hands wet, let me show you the, and any of you new guys, you can kind of ignore this part, just file it away. I have been using this Nacet blade for a very long time. I started it back in maybe 2018. I put dots anytime I would use the blade, and I managed to put about 300 dots on the original envelope that the Nacet blade came in. And then once I filled it up and got to a round number, that's why this says 300, and then plus all of these. And so we're looking at 91 today. Each of these is 100, so we're looking at 591 is today, the count for today's shave, I believe. The title of the video and the description will contain the official count in case I'm off a little bit. And yes, I am very out of the ordinary with how many uses I'm getting out of this blade. Just for you beginners, if you can get 3 to 5 uses out of your blade, then be happy with that. Basically, if it gets really uncomfortable in tugging, then maybe switch to a new blade. But hopefully, as your technique improves, that will also extend your blade life, and you'll probably be able to, with good technique, pretty easily make about any blade last about a month if you want to. Oh, I need to put the little original Nacet paper envelope back in my little foldy thing. All right. So now I can get my face wet. What that does is soften your beard. Get a little water in your beard hairs. And it will make it easier to shave. All right. Some people do pre-shave creams and as well. Pre-shave oils. Anybody who recommends that you have to do a pre-shave oil, don't believe them. I've never used one. It can also, gunk up your brush with that oil whenever you work on it. Almost all soaps, good quality soaps out there, and there's so many available, they're going to have the slickness that you need without a pre-shave. Now, if you have extra dry skin or some extreme skin situation issues, then you may need a shaving oil, but a pre-shave oil. But don't assume that you need one, and it can be a crutch. It can keep you from developing really good lather skills if you use it when you don't really need to be. But of course, it's your lather game. If you want to use one, then use it. There are no rules in a sense. But I want you to have the best lather that you can, because it will feel better on your skin. It will give you a better shave. It will treat your skin better afterwards. It makes better use of the soap that you have. And so that's why I want that for you. But if you don't want that for yourself, that's okay. No rules. Whatever makes you happy. So we've pre-moistened our beard. I have taken... before the video started, I went around the outside of the soap, because since I've been brush loading from the tub here, the center is what gets worked away first, and so that's why I loaded from the outside. But it doesn't matter. You can load from the middle if you want. It just doesn't matter. This is also a way, if you're a little OCD and you want to keep moisture out of your soap, then some people always load with some type of measuring spoon. Some people use just a popsicle stick or any number of items. Some people just use the back of their thumbnail. The reason I recommend a 1/4 teaspoon is because that amount of soap, for most makers, Not all, but most makers, that's plenty enough to give you all the lather you need. And so if you're a beginner, then you are not starting off with a problem of, did I load it? Did I put enough soap in the bowl? Did I put too little? Did I put enough? That kind of, did I put too much? That sort of thing. Now, before your bowl really gets wet or anything, we need to press that into the bottom of the bowl. This is also how you would load a sample. If you get a sample or a smush, just press it into a thin layer. And don't have any big chunks. Thin it out. Because if a chunk comes loose, it may take longer than average to work itself into the lather and to kind of get dissolved. But the brush tips will work much better on any soap that's, pressed thinly into the bottom of the bowl. Did we get it all? There are a few soaps out there that you need more than a 1/4 teaspoon. Holy Cow is one of them. The silk tallow base from this same maker, from Chiseled Face, they have a silk tallow base, and it is wonderful and luxurious, but it takes 2 or 3 times as much product, and I mean 2 or 3 of these 1/4 teaspoons, because of the different components, the chemicals that are in the soap. There are more oils and butters and that sort of thing to treat your face right, but it takes a lot more product. All right, so that's the 1/4 teaspoon. And honestly, that's really, that's going to be plenty. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our wet brush, and this is a boar brush, but like I said, it doesn't matter what kind of brush it is, same process. Right now it's very saturated with water. I could just start lathering with this. I believe that the full amount of water in this brush is probably about what I might need for the whole shave to generate lots of lather, but I may need actually more, and so I'll dribble some in. But I'll just shake a little bit of it off, and I'm going to tilt you down so that we can. Depending on how much water you shook out of your brush, you may get this light, airy, foamy stuff right away. It may be really liquidy, so don't judge your lather yet. What we're going to do is just equalize everything. We've got a certain amount of water in the brush. We've got a certain amount of soap in the bowl. You saw my 3D printed bowl, and it's got ridges to help with lather generation, but the reason I'm using this bowl is to show you that the ridges only help a little bit. Any bowl will still give you a nice lather, and so it's a great way to start out because you may enjoy face lathering more. Okay, now the reason I choose larger bowls is because of this. See, if I work it too much, it's very easy for this to just plop right out. And so that's why I like large bowls. But this is very airy. Let's calm it down now by adding some water. I haven't even fully absorbed all the soap in the bowl yet. But it's just gonna get a little easier to manage if I add some water. The soap is not posturing up like it was before, as you can hopefully see. So now we can focus on just kind of churning it around, mixing that. I may be pressing 1/3 of the way down to splay the brush, about 1/3 of the way on the bristles. I'm then pushing the lather down from the walls on a pretty regular basis to get that clump in the middle, and then you can maybe do some circles. Sometimes I'll do circles high, then I'll press a little deeper. We want to make sure we want to have the same lather be in the bowl as is on our brush. In terms of when I was first starting, I had more water in my brush, right? But as I'm circulating, as I'm kind of pumping a little bit, not much, but a little bit, then I'm creating that lather, but I'm also circulating it through the brush. I'm making sure that I can get all that water that's in the brush out into the lather. Now, if you look at your lather that's in your bowl, you can see and notice some things about it. That lather's not really moving very much other than just kind of vibrating a little bit. So it's kind of stiff. For most soap bases, I like to push a lot more water into my lather than what you see here. I want it to I want it to be more loose. I want it to be heavy with water. This is retaining its shape pretty easily. I mean, look at that. It sticks out from the brush, keeping its structure. And so other lathers, other soap makers, they have a little bit more of a higher performance soap, a little bit that's not really a coconut oil type base. It'll be easier to get those creamy. So I'm going to add just a little bit more water, and then I think I'll let that be it, because this will definitely shave you. It's pretty slick. It just won't feel, because it's all kind of airy a little bit, it won't feel as much as like a luxury. Of course, if you're new, then it will probably feel very luxurious, because you don't have as much to compare it to. And so look, that little bit of soap has made all this lather. Quarter teaspoon of soap, and I've got enough lather for many passes. Now did you see that behavior? It kind of lost a little bit of its, it gets more goopy, and the water weight is being added to it, so that's better. And I think with this base, I'll stick with that right there. And building your lathers in the bowl doesn't have to take a long time. It'll get quicker as you go. But some guys do like the simplicity of not having to clean a bowl afterwards, but to me it doesn't take very long. All right. Some guys also are not as picky about their lathers. I like really high performance lathers. I like them to be luxurious and ultra slick. And so if you're not as picky, then you don't have to mix for as long. You see the texture? This is a lot thicker than it needs to be, even still. And so one thing I can do, start a little water. You can dribble some droplets onto your brush. You can reach down and dip your brush tips in a little bit of water. Let's just shave with that. I like to clear off all the extra clods. from my goatee. Oh, and I didn't show you guys my Nacet yet. So I'm on this marathon run with the Nacet. Years ago I started this blade, and I just figured I'd quit whenever I quit getting good shaves. And I haven't quit yet. And I'm showing you because I have made etchings, like right here. Is it right set up? Yeah. Right here there's an N etched into the blade, and then down here there's a 1, just to show you that it's the same blade. But like I said, if you're new, don't overuse a blade. But when it starts getting uncomfortable, tugging, that kind of thing, it could be your technique that needs improvement, but you know, blades are pretty cheap, and so feel free to just pitch it, and then hopefully with time, your technique will improve. You'll start getting better shaves, and then you'll have the option of using a blade a few times if you want to just throw away and get a fresh one, or keep them going longer, and then you can buy expensive blades and they'll last you a good long time and turn into cheap blades. All right, so this is mainly a lather, bowl lathering video, and so I'm not going to focus too much today on shaving technique. I think a lot of my other videos are going to have that info. But I will say, go slow at first. I can do this on automatic because I've just done it a lot. I know the right angles to come at the hairs. I know the right, very light pressure to use. And there we go. A little quick pass. And I was not focusing on getting all of the stubble the first pass. Just focus on running over everything a little bit. Because as we go now to the second pass, when we apply the brush, when we put the razor to my face, again, we'll get even more of the stubble. The second pass, you don't have to work the lather as much. Now this is a very thick lather, according to most of mine. And all this, still you can see I've just put on plenty enough for even two passes on my face right now. But I've still got so much. So this is obviously a soap where I can use less than a 1/4 teaspoon if I want. Soap's still pretty cheap, so that's one nice thing about Chiseled Face. They're not pretending to be a high-end luxury base, and so their cost point is at a good fair price. All right, so second pass on me. The second pass, I go sideways like this. And this does feel good. It could be a little wetter, but I've got a lot of nice slickness. A good lather, number one, it provides that lubrication. And that is the most important thing with a shave, because it protects your skin against the blade. As long as you operate the razor properly and have that light touch and the proper angle, then the lather works to give you as little irritation as possible. Splash a little water on my face. Load up my brush by pushing down into the lather. And I'm about to do my third pass, and this is a lot of lather, and I still have so much more. And again, if I want to add more water, I can dip my brush tips to be able to add some more. And next time, if you realize you're adding more to the lather, you can just remember the texture of the lather that you saw before and add more water from the beginning in the bowl next time. Hold the razor loosely, loose enough to keep control, but I mean tight enough to have control, safe control of the razor, but loose enough to where you let it glide over your skin. Lifting up my chin to stretch this skin here. And there we go, 3 passes. I'm going to use the same blade tomorrow, so I'm going to vent it like that, give it a good rinse, a shake, and then place it somewhere safe. And now I'm going to pause you while I get a good rinse here. Oh, before I do that, because I don't want to forget, let's look at some characteristics of the lather so that you can know when to stop adding water. You can lift it up with the brush. Look at those long tendrils, how they fall. Does it keep its shape when it plops into the bowl? Does it move with gravity as you move the bowl around? If it doesn't move with gravity, usually that means you can add more water until it starts to, because the water will add weight to make it move, and it'll also add elasticity and that luxurious, lightly creamy type feeling. Now if you see the spike, got one on top now, and then now here's the other one on top. See, it's holding its own structure very well. With most premium soaps, there's plenty of water you can still add to this to get that extra slick. Water equals slickness until the lather breaks. And so keep adding that water, and if you get, basically if your lather looks good for photos and it holds onto the end of the brush like an ice cream cone with a swirl on top, then it could still use some more water. But this base, like I told you, runs a little, wants me to run it a little more dry because it's just a slightly different base. I also have talked about the shelf. See, look, it's kind of able to, there's a wall there and it's not collapsing down into the bowl. Generally, I'll keep adding water until it's a little bit more soupy than this and doesn't hold up like a wall like that, where that it can't happen because it's so relaxed and full of water. But sometimes it takes a little bit longer to find your lather, so just give it more practice. Next time add a little bit more water, maybe next time add a little bit less. And see what you like. Nothing wrong, no rules, just whatever you like, whatever works best for you. You may like scrapey, scratchy shaves where the lather's not really protecting you as good as it could. I don't think most people do, but hey, I mean, that's a possibility. And so go for that. Have a dry lather. All right, good face wash now. So that is bowl lathering. You might look at all this nice lather and think, let's not waste this. Don't try to keep it. It doesn't really work very well. It'll relax and soften. And as you saw, I did 3 passes. I've probably got another 4 or 5 passes of lather here. And all that was generated with just a 1/4 teaspoon of soap. So all you're wasting, all you're throwing down the drain is maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon of soap. So don't sweat it. Just don't scoop up quite as much next time, and you won't have as much going down the drain. And now I'm rinsing. You got to give your brush a really good rinse. Get all that lather and soap out of it. A little bit less important with synthetics. But very important with natural hair brushes. Another reason I like the bowl is I can run water in the bowl, and then I can use that to rinse out my brush. Then if my kids have done something weird to my sink, then my shaping brush is not getting rinsed out, contacting all that stuff. I do this very quickly down in the sink to shake the excess water out. And then I take it over to a towel. And I do this the same with horse, badger, or boar. Just to kind of get the standing water out. And then don't put your brush away in a poorly ventilated area like a medicine cabinet. And there we go. Now it can sit on its base just fine and dry. You don't need a special brush rack to store it upside down or anything like that. So, yeah, normal bowl works just fine. You saw I made a ton of lather. The fancy ribbed bowls do help and speed it up just a little bit, but it is just a little bit. To me, the most important thing is size and having a bowl that's big enough to hold the lather that you're making without spilling over. Let's put our splash on. Midnight Stag. That's the challenge I'm doing this month, where I'm using the same soap, splash, and cologne all month. Now let's pretend this is maybe CeraVe or something like that. If you have sensitive skin or dry skin, you don't have to put on an alcohol-based splash like what you just saw me do. You could use a standard good quality lotion and put that on after your shave. And then you can use maybe a cologne on your wrists. And then that's going to be non-drying and really good for your facial skin. All right, well, there you go. Hopefully that helps you new guys out there who are looking to bowl lather. Historically, I've got a lot of videos out there with bowl lathering, so they might be of help as well. I tend to do more of a diary type format where each day has some nuggets, you know, that kind of thing. And so hopefully that'll be of help to you. So this today is a way to make sure you're not putting too much soap in there. As you can see, that much soap gave me a lot of lather. So if you can imagine, if you were to load for too long and have even more soap absorbed than that, then you could really be dealing with a dry lather, because it's so hard to add so much water to it. In fact, with this bowl, if I had loaded too much soap, I would have probably had to just let a lot of soap a lot of lather fall into the sink so that I have enough room to keep adding water to what was in the bowl. And that's okay. You learn and you just use less next time. However, I usually do, instead of taking the time to spread the lather, spread the soap in the bottom of the bowl, I usually do load right from the tub. And what I'll do is maybe I'll count the swirls, since this has a little bit more of moisture in it, and you can see it from the previous shave. It right now it only takes about 15 swirls of this wet bore brush to get up enough lather for the shave, to get up enough soap. So hopefully that helps you. Post any questions you want in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them. And sometimes my shaving friends will jump in and answer them as well. So thanks so much for watching. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Good night.